Hey, today I will show you how I deploy my blog application in my homelab server using Terraform and Helm. This is example PR. What are the needed resources? For instance, I have two workspaces, prod, which is holding all core resources like auto-scaling groups, um, buckets, DNS records, and so on. And in prod K8, I use output from prod to generate the Kubernetes resources. So how the PR looks like? Probably we can start from the workspace. I create a few variables and I initialize them with default values, the domain name and the database name, and I'll output it. Also, I create a Cloudflare R2 bucket with custom domain. This is very nice because R2 buckets have free egress and ingress, and I pay only for storage. And this is really good offering for serving images, files, and so on. I create a GitHub secret in the blog repository because I use it for triggering action when I make a new release. Here I create a DNS record for uh, the blog where I make a CNAME record to the Cloudflare tunnel URL. Basically, I use Cloudflare tunnel for zero port open ingress for my applications, and on this way I don't have to open port 80 or port 443. Yeah, okay, I record. Yeah, which is really nice. Here, basically, I started, and this is the changes for the prod. For the prod K8, I make a few stuff. For instance, here in the ingress, probably you can see it. Where it is here at the ingress. I point the Cloudflare tunnel whenever I receive a request from the block domain from the block hostname to redirect it to the block service, Kubernetes block service. By this way, I don't need traffic or some type of reverse proxy. I directly specify the redirections here. Other thing that I add is the data for PG admin is here. Yeah. For instance, I have a PG admin running in my Kubernetes cluster, and I expose it via tailscale ingress. Basically, this means whenever I'm in my tailscale network, I can securely access this admin view for all databases without exposing it publicly. And here I just provide some pre-built data like where is the host name of my database. For instance, this is the default pattern for Postgres databases managed by Cloud Native PG. Yeah, with default username, database name, and so on. Because I mentioned Cloud Native PG, probably I can show you how I use it. Basically, this is my setup where I have a single Postgres instance, and yeah, I basically store all the buckets in S3 bucket. We'll show you later how it looks like, and I basically restore it like every day at midnight. I make a backup with retention policies around this, but we'll move. Yeah, probably here is the most interesting part. Here, this is part of my AppPG local Helm chart, where I have yeah, the PG cluster which we already saw, configuration for scheduled backups, and my application deployment and service, and some secrets for the database credentials. And I want to create this local Helm release with some concrete values, which are here, like what is the name of the image, what is the host name, what are the database username and password, and so on. Retention policy, storage size, you see. And for instance, these variables, how I fill them. I fill them from Terraform, and it looks like this. From Terraform, I pick, these are the outputs basically from my prod workspace, and I pass them directly here. This is nice because on this way I dynamically pass values, I don't hard code anything. What is something else interesting? Here I create a name space, here I create a secret for GitHub container registry in order to be able my Kubernetes cluster to pull the images, yeah, Docker images. Here, this is one trick, because whenever I change my work, my YAML files with the Helm charts, I want to retrigger deployment, and by this way I just yeah, generate some dummy value whenever I change some of the YAML files at chart RPG, but I would apply them for different scenarios. Yeah, here are the values, and here is the release. So this is basically everything, and now I can merge. Yep. Now we go to the actions and see the stages. Yeah, you see first up I set up the scale. What I do, mm, in order to run the to apply Kubernetes changes from Terraform, my Terraform runner needs access to Tailscale. That's why I do it, and how it looks like. I add the Tailscale runner temporarily at my Tailscale network, and after that I remove it, which is really nice. Probably I can show it from here. Work false. Yeah, here whenever I make change to main and change some of these files, I set up Tailscale, set up AWS, set up Terraform, and here I first apply the changes at the prod workspace because there are some dependencies to prod K8, and I wait till the autoscaling group is ready for changes where with the Kubernetes cluster, and then I apply the changes for prod K8. Yeah, now we wait till all the changes are applied. What else? I can show you till we wait. Probably, yeah, I set up the monitoring with Grafana Cloud and with the Grafana Kubernetes monitoring Helm chart. Basically, the configuration looks like this, where I set up where I set the cluster metrics, I set up some secrets. Probably this is the cool part because, for instance, you see here that I don't hardcode any of the values. Everything is generated from the Cloudflare stack resources from Terraform, and I basically take the output from there and put it in this template file, which is really nice. Yeah, and okay, the apply is done. We should see that, yeah, Okay, the runner is already gone. And if I go to the namespaces, yeah, we see the new namespace. And if we wait some time, we should see some memory changes. But yeah, the data is still not populated. Probably we can see the pods. Yeah, you see that now the database is up and running. The application is also running. So if I go to work, yeah, our application is up and running, which is really nice. We should see the new R2 bucket. Yep, it's here with custom domain. Yep, static block. And here we should see that the backup is made for the block. Yes. And here I actually have to restart the PG admin. Oh, okay, nice. It's already available. Cool. Oh, yeah, our database already available, and the only thing I should know is the database password. And we should see that there is some tables. Yeah, articles and boost DB version. Nice. Yeah, this is actually cool. Probably what I can show you also is actually a few two things. Um, I don't know if you noticed, but here at is init, what I do, pitch cluster, yeah. For instance, if is init is enabled, I initialize the database and so on, but if it's false, I recover from the backup that's in the S3 bucket. And we want to change this value after the initial setup. So here we go to false. We're here with the latest. Yes. Change. Yes, I need to jump through block. This one important thing. Yep. And for instance, now I can show you how I make changes and update to the, automatically update the prod environment whenever I make change to my application. Probably we can run it first locally. Local Linux ARM64. Come on. I should start. Okay. Migration to run. Actually, is the database up and running? Yeah. Okay. I want to show you something cool. I remove the database. Yep. And I will stop. I rerun the application, and you see here that the application runs the static server, but doesn't connect with the database and it retries. And if I go to localhost, the application is running. And for instance, now if I compose up, the database is available, and we should see, yeah, the database now is initialized. And so the application doesn't fail when the database is not immediately available. And now let's say I want to make a change. Let's say I want to add a new article. Now it's hard coded, but never mind. I save. I refresh. Yep, it's updated, and I want to push this to prod. Basically, I save. Say feed add new articles, push, and I create a tag. And the tag is actually the magic. Just to wait. Yep. It needs a few seconds. Yeah. Probably I can go here and here repositories work. You see that one action is activated, build and push. And basically what is happening here at the workflows, there's some standard stuff I built image, I push it, and this is the interesting part. With this, I send an event to the infra workspace, and I say I have this image with this tag, and this is the actual commit that made the change in my application. And what should happen is after the build and update image, a new action should be triggered in the info repository where it updates the tag from 1.01 to 1.10. And on this way, basically automatically, yeah, everything is deployed with the GitOps approach. It's a bit hacky solution, to be honest. It looks like this from the infra repository. Image updater. I don't use Flux at the moment or something fancy. I just run find for every YAML template file. I just set yeah, and replace the whatever tag, and I commit it, and this commit triggers the apply job basically. Probably the data, yeah, and now you see that we already have some data from the monitoring perspective. Let's see the status again. Yeah, everything is fine. Probably here to cool part that I didn't mention before. From the perspective of internet traffic, Cloudflare tunnel 0 port opens, and with Tailscale, basically I don't open any ports as well for the SSH, and yeah, which is kind of cool. And if we see my K8, yeah, this is my security group, basically for egress everything, but I don't allow any ingress, which is nice. Basically, my instance have a public IP because I don't want to pay for NAT gateway, but yeah, basically no one can reach it. Yeah, okay, build and update supply, nice. And if we go now to infra, we see that a new commit was made. Yep, with the changed version. And now we wait for the apply to finish. Which, yeah, I mean, this is kind of cool approach. To be honest, I'm really happy how it turned out. Probably one also cool thing that I didn't mention is basically I have a single EC2 instance that is auto-scaling group, And basically, what happens is that whenever I um, make a change in the user data or the CPU reaches some threshold, basically I recreate the virtual machine in another uh, availability zone, and on this way I have a highly available single instance. If you want to persist the data, I didn't do this, but you can do it. You can detach the EBS volumes, copy them to the another availability zone, and then reattach them. On this way, you also have a persistent data. But yeah, for my setup, it was not needed because I restored data from the S3 bucket. And yeah, this is done. So now if you refresh, yeah, everything is updated. Yeah, I will update the UI, but this is a later, or this is for later. So yeah, thank you for your attention and see you later.